I've long thought our atmosphere has a huge impact when we're painting, not only in the outdoors or in the landscape with distance, but also closer in. So let's take a quick look at this. We have a spectacular view here that we can really only feel once we're out here. You can take a photo, and thinking of photos, what I do love to do is photograph, but then use that image as like a viewfinder, but also I'm flipping it upside down. I was told when I was a young artist, as an artist, as a person, human being, we tend to get a little transfixed on seeing even distance. That's a mountain, that's just a shape, a hill, whatever it might be. But we really should be analysing it for how much atmosphere is in it. So that means how much blue is in it. So that's where I've come up with the term and the thought process, the power of blue. So let's see how I go. Rightio. Now this is a subject that I've actually had the reference image for a few years now, and it's funny how we build up so many images, but so many more, I probably more should say so many ideas. And I find that it's important to do them and approach them when you're ready. There's nothing worse than saying, I've had that one, I've got to do it this week or this month. Because for me, true inspiration is so important, and to have that desire that I really want to do this subject, this painting, this idea justice. And especially with this one, I'm aiming to get as much depth and distance. I've always felt that we always tend to think in terms of left to right, top to bottom, not distance, mid-distance and foreground. That's why ultimately I try and think in terms of an interesting foreground, but then hoping that I've got a shape or an area that, like with this one, with the Blue Mountain area, the hill, they're more big hills than massive mountains, but that's the best we've got in Australia, because this is down in the snowy mountains, our alpine region. So it's either part of the Great Dividing Range or it's one of the little mountain offshoots. But there comes the blue. It's matching the atmospheric colour. So that's why I'll put in the sky area next. But notice how I've separated sky, the Blue Mountain, and then that big foreground area, all sort of clearly delineated. So I'm getting that clear stepping back, because that's when I look for a subject. Of course, I need a good tonal pattern and shadow pattern, but I'm immediately thinking, how much blue? What areas can I get, even in the mid-distance? How much blue is in that? Because I know that that's what's going to create that visual depth, that three-dimensional depth. That's why I always think in terms of details, not detail. And when I'm putting the detail in, it's right towards the very end as well. Making sure I'm keeping those fairly big brushes going. And this was one of those paintings that it really started to set up nicely. I felt the sky was so lovely and dramatic, even though what hopefully looks more like smoke in the mountains was actually low level cloud. It's one of those ones where sometimes you're painting along and it's not quite reading as cloud or this or that. And I thought, you know what? I think we might add a little more drama for it to be cloud. The grasses are a little more in the dry summer golden colour. So that's when in the southern part of Australia in summer, that's when we have the fire threat. Where Queensland, my home state, is normally a wet summer, so we're more green on green. But we would have to analyse, and you may even have to zoom in just to check how much blue is in those shadows of those trees. And then you'll see just how much, even though it's only small shapes, but it's still important to make sure I get that tonal contrast from light to dark, but then also the atmospheric blue coming through. And I think it was Arthur Streeton who I really did champion and notice that he truly had the genius of using atmosphere and depth, and he really used the power of blue to 110% in his work. And I'm not sure actually what blue he actually did use, whether it was a cobalt. That is something that I'll have to research. I believe it is written down in a book somewhere, but it's been 20 to 25 years since I've actually known or read it. In hindsight, I wished I had actually kept it, just so I would have a better understanding of his colour mixing. So now we're starting to get on the smaller details. Once again, this foreground, I didn't want to, even though they are important, I didn't want to overwork it, overdo it, because it's almost ultimately a bit of a mid-band from that blue mountain in the background to the top of that, down to the bottom of where those trees are, where I was just working. It's normally, so I was trying to get the eye to travel, even though I've got that little dark or that little bush shape on the left-hand side, to one as a bookend to help keep the eye in a circular shape, where the four golden mean points line up. But I was really wanting the eye to travel as quickly into the little shed and where those grouping of trees are. That's why I've just put a few little cows in that mid to right-hand side to just to zigzag, to bounce the eye. And you can see that lovely zigzagging or S-shaped composition coming in. Now that I've got my little Neef liner, or I think they call it a Taklon liner, or script brush, I should say. They're available in other countries, in other companies make them. They're more just like that white synthetic. They're not a hog hair or anything, but they're lovely and flexible. And it's normally a good moment in a painting when it's all tying together and I'm just putting in those little dots and dashes just to refine things. Then I'll know that I'm almost, it's like the bell lap of a 10,000 metre race at the Olympics. So we're just bringing in those. And sometimes I'll actually overdo it, but I don't mind that. I'll always have a break and then come back and rework areas. Now that was a really fun scene. There's some subjects that I have that I've kept on for 1 year, 5 years. You know to yourself that, you know what, I'll get round to painting that one. But every now and then when I do, I think, oh my God, that was such a great little subject. Why didn't I paint that sooner? And I think that was what happened with this one. And I think with the blue area, we have to really keep trying to push those blues, keep in that French ultramarine blue. It's very easy to start to think, you know what, this is too blue, it's not enough colour, it's not creating enough depth and distance. But we have to stay strong, stay pure with those blues as much as possible. That's why we try and keep the red and especially the yellow out for as long as possible. And that's when the magic, I find, really happens. So, hope you enjoyed it. All the best. Bye for now.